our desire to make such a trip. We will certainly never be in Alaska again, I would rather imagine, and if we do want to see the area, this would be a most advantageous way to see it. The road that is extremely poor is the road to Seattle. If one takes the Alcan and drives through Canada and enters the United States at Montreal or Winnipeg, the trip is bad in parts, but not as treacherous, and there is not as long an area that is treacherous as if one enters the United States in the Seattle, Washington area. Therefore, if we drove, we definitely would not come through to California, because we would cross the continent in the country of Canada, something that we would like to do. The trip would take approximately 2 weeks, maybe a few days longer than this. And this is based on information received from many people who have made the trip. Of course, a lot of the people who live up here have driven up or driven back. The people who are residents here have made the trip several times, and if they're not all fond of the trip, I think we've gotten a very realistic idea of what we would face, but it is certainly a journey that possibly I should not miss. I don't know. I do think I would probably be saving money in making a trip, although if I had a major repair on the car, the money saved would be a deficit. Without belaboring the point, I might mention several other items very quickly. First, the time that we would be making the trip would be ideal. Springtime, the roads are at their best, and of course this is important. Secondly, by doing this, I would be leaving this area sooner, which would be advantageous, and I would be discharged from Andrews Air Force Base in Washington, D.C., rather than from McCourt Air Force Base in Seattle, Washington, and this has several advantages. The alternative, and one that we are pondering at this time, would be to fly to Seattle, pick up my car there, and either travel directly to Baltimore or to Baltimore through California, which is a devious way of so doing. We are considering this and weighing the pros and cons. And I might not be given a choice as far as that's concerned. The service does have a way of making up one's mind for one, as you well know. In reference to the proposed trust or to Mother's future, and after all this brought up the whole question of my not coming to San Mateo in the first half of 1961, I am very enthusiastic over your ideas, and as presented, they seem like a very good and wise solution to the problem of Mother's future. I agree with you entirely that this is a matter that should be discussed thoroughly and in a business-like fashion, and that it cannot be done through the mails. However, Bob, it is impossible, as far as I can see at this time, for me to come to California. I have thought about it for the past week. I've talked to my chief, who is presently taking his boards, and I'm sure I cannot get time off. Whether the service will allow me to fly or to drive, I do not know, and I think it's a decision that if they do give me an opportunity to decide, that I should make thinking about various aspects of the problem, one of which, of course, would be this. Now, Mother's future has been indefinite for many years, and we have approached the subject many times and never discussed it. Each time that I've been in San Mateo, there have always been items that we wanted to discuss, business items, and this has been accumulating in the recent years as we get older, and I cannot say with all honesty that rarely have we accomplished much. Part of this is due to the brevity of my visits. I don't know what the other reason is. But I just can't drop everything and fly to San Mateo the same way you can't drop everything and fly to Anchorage or Baltimore or to Los Angeles. I certainly feel very strongly that sometime in 1961 we will be under the same roof, whether you're in Baltimore or whether I'm in San Francisco or Los Angeles. I see no reason why this is not true. I do think I will be in California or you will be east, and I think the latter is rather dubious that you will come east, although I know Evie is certainly anxious to see her brother in New Jersey and her niece. But I do think we will be together in the near future. Mother's health is holding out excellently. This is a problem that is not new. It's a problem that definitely needs to be discussed, but I don't see that there is suddenly an emergency or suddenly a reason for doing something quickly and presently. I do agree that it should be done before the necessity arises, and I do agree that it should be done at the first feasible time. If the occasion should arise, when it becomes an emergency or a necessity, then I think it is time for both of us to reconsider our present positions. The tape's coming to about an end, thank God. I think both of us are anxious for this to occur. Again, very briefly, thank you very, very much for the reference. I enjoyed it immensely. But I do not think at this late date, when I have several months left in the service and with a new radiologist coming next month, that we will use it. But it is a good reference for me to keep, and I do file these references. Having obtained a beautiful file cabinet about 6 months ago and trying to read at a rather fast pace. I'm currently taking a speed reading course, and as you know, something I need greatly is speed. Evie, you will be very happy to hear that I am reading Schlesinger's book, Politics of Upheaval. I enjoy the book immensely. I think it's a very thorough history of the time. However, I find it extremely depressing, and I'm sure you would agree that I would find it such, although possibly to your way of thinking it is not depressing. I also would expect that. As to Eve, I have received a Valentine's card addressed to Ruth. We also received a short note saying that she was going to Mexico City. I know nothing further. Again, I am very, very unhappy about the will and don't know how to approach it at this time. I think we have lost our chance there. I did enjoy the big game tape immensely. The medical newsletter issues will be sent to you when I get a chance. The slides are extremely valuable, and both Dave and I, and Dave taking his boards, are learning a great deal from them. Well, that's it. It's the end of the tape, Bob. Please have the children say hello to us next time, and on my response, Barbara, who is sitting next to me doing her nails, will be allowed to talk. Each time that she has wanted to say hello, I have more or less shut her up. So, Barbie?
At least I get to say goodbye.
That's about all that's left. As you said in your letter, our next correspondence will be social rather than business, and I hope someday that I will be in the same state that my interests lie, as corresponding from Alaska or from Maryland is very difficult and very unsatisfactory. We miss you all. We hope you all are having fun. Happy Purim.